Good afternoon, brothers and sisters, and welcome to Readings with Regina. And we're going to get right into it because I have a lot to share with you today. But before I actually pick up our first book, I want you to look at the banner and I want you to consider what that banner says. Consider your relationship to the sky, to the stars, to the moon, to the sun, and right now to the snow. Okay, here we go. We're going to start off with The Slave Ship. The Slave Ship by Marcus Rediker. Okay, and why am I starting off with such a book that probably upsets some of you, or you feel we really don't need to go back to that? Yes, we do, because that is the beginning of the African coming into the Americas and becoming the Negro. Here we go. Okay. This chapter is called The Evolution of the Slave Ship. Thomas Gordon introduced his book, Principles of Naval Architecture, 1784, with a sweeping statement, quote, as a ship is undoubtedly the noblest and one of the most useful machines that ever was invented, every attempt to improve it becomes a matter of importance and merits the consideration of mankind. End of quote. He captured, as a naval architect should, the tall ship's combination of grandeur and utility as he suggested the importance of its technical refinement and specialization. He noted that the progress of naval architecture could not be confined to this or that nation, but belonged properly to all of mankind, whom the ship had helped to connect around the globe. Perhaps most important, he saw the ship as a machine, one of the most useful ever invented. He knew, of course, that the European deep sea sailing ship, of which the slave ship was a variant, had helped to transform the world from the era of Christopher Columbus to his own time. It was the historic vessel for the emergence of capitalism, a new and unprecedented social and economic system that remade large parts of the world beginning in the late 16th century. It was also the material setting, the stage for the enactment of the high human drama of the slave trade. People, it starts with a ship. The origins and genesis of the slave ship as a world changing machine go back to the late 15th century when the Portuguese, oh my lord, those terrorists, the Portuguese made their historic voyages to the west of Africa where they bought gold, ivory, and human beings. These early explorations marked the beginning of the Atlantic slave trade. They were made possible by a new evolution of the sailing ship, the full rigged, three masted carrack, the forerunner of the vessels that would eventually carry Europeans to all parts of the earth, then carry millions of Europeans and Africans to the New World, and finally earn Thomas Gordon's admiration. As Carlos Cipolla explained in his classic work, Guns, Sails, and Empires, the ruling classes of Western European states were able to conquer the world between 1400 and 1700 because of two distinct and soon powerfully combined technological developments. First, English craftsmen forged cast iron cannon, a weapon of war, which were rapidly disseminated to military forces all around Europe. Second, the deep sea sailing round ship of Northern Europe slowly eclipsed the oared longship or galley of the Mediterranean. European leaders with maritime ambitions had their shipwrights cut ports into the hulls of these rugged, seaworthy ships for huge, heavy cannon, weapon of war. Naval warfare changed as they added sails and guns and replaced oarsmen and warriors with smaller, more efficient crews. They substituted sail power for human energy and thereby created a machine that harnessed unparalleled mobility, speed, and destructive power. Thus, when the full rigged ship, equipped with muzzle loading cannon, showed up on the coast of Africa, Asia, and America, it was by all accounts a marvel, if not a terror. The noise of the cannon alone was terrifying. Indeed, it was enough, one empire builder explained, to induce non Europeans to worship Jesus Christ. Yes, when the slave ship with its guns hit the shores of Africa, the blasting of cannons was enough to shake whole villages. Yes, Christianity was enforced onto the African that became the Negro. And by the time the African became the Negro, Christianity was her religion. And let me just explain what I'm saying here. I am not denigrating anybody's religion, but I'm saying this. On the African continent, there was nothing like a religion. You dig? The Africans knew that they were put on this earth by a metaphysical force that they wanted to work with, not kill off, but work with. This is why when Africans killed any kind of an animal, before they killed that animal, they said a prayer. They thanked that animal. It's the same with a tree. Before they cut down a tree, they said a prayer. Why is that? Because the tree was here. She knew that that tree was here to bear fruit, to make their livelihood more prosperous. All right. Now we're going to go to incidents in the life of a slave girl. Very important book. Most of you hanging with me know that this is a true story of what happened to Harriet Jacobs in this book. She is Linda Brent. And let me just show you this. Because of Lydia Mariah Child, an abolitionist, we have incidents in the life of a slave girl that was written back in the 1850s. All right, here we go, people. Dr. Flint, that pedophile owner of Linda, has made another proposition to her, which is very unsavory. She does not want him to build her a house in the woods, okay? So she's about to give him her answer. He was shrewd, but I knew he was not to be trusted. I told him I was not ready to give my answer now. No, I told him I was ready to give my answer now. Quote, I will not receive it now. End of quote, he replied. You act too much from impulse. Remember that you and your children can be free a week from today if you choose. On what a monstrous chance hung the destiny of my children. I knew that my master's offer was a snare, and that if I entered it, escape would be impossible. As for his promise, I knew him so well that I was sure if he gave me free papers, they would be so managed as to have no legal value. The alternative was inevitable. I resolved to go to the plantation, but then I thought how completely I should be in his power, and the prospect was appalling. Even if I should kneel before him and implore him to spare me for the sake of my children, I knew he would spurn me with his foot, and my weakness would be his triumph. Before the week expired, I heard that young Mr. Flint was about to be married to a lady of his own stamp. That means she had a little money too. I foresaw the position I should occupy in his establishment. I had once been sent to the plantation for punishment, and fear of the son had induced the father to recall me very soon. My mind was made up. I was resolved that I would foil my master and save my children, or I would perish in the attempt. I kept my plans to myself. I knew that friends would try to dissuade me from them, and I would not wound their feelings by rejecting their advice. On the decisive day, the doctor came and said he hoped I'd made a wise choice. I am ready to go to the plantation, sir, I replied. Have you thought how important your decision is to your children? Said he. I told him I had. Very well. Go to the plantation, and my curse go with you, he replied. Your boy shall be put to work, and he shall soon be sold, and your girl shall be raised for the purpose of selling. Well, go your own ways. He left the room with curses I dare not repeat. As I stood rooted to the spot, my grandmother came and said, Linda, child, what did you tell him? I answered that I was going to the plantation. Must you go? Said she. Can't something be done to stop it? I told her it was useless to try, but she begged me not to give up. She said she would go to the doctor and remind him how long and how faithfully she had served in his family, and how she had taken her own baby from her breast to nourish his wife. She would tell him I had been out of the family so long they would not miss me, that she would pay them for my time. Lord have mercy. And the money would procure a woman who had more strength for the situation than I had. I begged her not to go, but she persisted in saying, He will listen to me, Linda. She went and was treated as I expected. He coolly listened to what she said, but denied her request. He told her that what he did was for my good, that my feelings were entirely above my situation. See, a strong black person, a strong black man or woman, that's above their situation, according to the white racist mind. You are supposed to be a servant that serves white people throughout your entire life. That made you a good person. A sister or brother who stood up to their oppressor, they were oppressed even more. So she was above her situation. She wasn't supposed to talk back to her master. Okay. And on that plantation, I would receive treatment that was suitable to my behavior, which means on the plantation he's sending her to, which belonged to his son, did. He knew that the son would treat her terribly. Boom. My grandmother was much cast down. I had my secret hopes, but I must fight my battle alone. Go ahead, Linda. I had a woman's pride and a mother's love for my children, and I resolved that out of the darkness of this hour, a brighter dawn should rise for them. My master had power and law on his side. Listen to me, people. I'm going to repeat that. My master had power and law. I'm going to interpret that. The white man who owns me, who wants to rape me, is protected by the law. Oh, does that sound familiar? Oh, how many politicians were with Epstein in this current era? I'm not going there, but I wanted to make that connection because I want you to make these connections. This is why I'm reading you your history. My master had power and law on his side. I had a determined will. There is might in each. Okay, so Ida B, not Ida B, she's next. Linda Brandt was ready to fight that demon however she could. All right, now I'm going to Ida B. Wells. Ida B. Wells. Ida B. Wells. Now, what has happened? Ida's friends, her businessmen friends, have been murdered. And the black people are so upset. They're not riding the streetcars. They're not doing business with any of the white businesses. Now, check this out. This is in the 1890s, people. And Ida B. Wells writes for the Free Speech newspaper, an all black paper. So the trolley car people have come to her and asked her, look, we want the blacks to ride our trolleys. What can we do? You need to write a story for us. So Ida says, we told them the week after the lynching, her 3 dear friends were lynched, shot down, eyes gorged out. We told them the week after the lynching to save their nickels and dimes so that they could do so. We had no way of knowing that they were doing so before this, as I have walked more than I ever did in my life before. No one has been arrested or punished about that terrible affair, nor will they be, because all are equally guilty. Why don't the colored people find the guilty ones? Asked one of them, the trolley car people. Quote, as if they could, there is strong belief among us that the criminal court judge himself was one of the lynchers. Suppose we have the evidence. Could we get it before the judge or a grand jury of white men who had permitted it to be, or force the reporter of the appeal to tell what he saw and knows about that night? The white press was there for the lynching. The white press was there and saw those men gunned down for nothing because they owned a business that rivaled a white man's business. You know very well that we are powerless to do any of these things. Well, we hope you will do what you can for us, and if you know of any discourtesy on the part of our employees, let us know and we will be glad to remedy it. When they left the office, I wrote this interview for the next issue of the Free Speech. And in the article, I told the people to keep up the good work. Don't deal with those white folks. Don't ride their trolleys. Don't go to their stores. I didn't say that. That's Regina. Okay. Not only that, I went to the 2 largest churches in the city the next Sunday before the paper came out and told them all about it. I urged them to keep on staying off the cars. Every time word came of people leaving Memphis, we who were left behind rejoiced. Oklahoma was about to be opened up, and scores sold or gave away property, shook Memphis dust off their feet, and went out west as Tom Moss, that's one of the brothers killed, had said for us to do. But let me go over this again. Oklahoma was about to be opened up. That means they killed all the Native Americans that were fighters and put the rest on reservations. Now, Ida's saying Oklahoma opened up. Opened up because white folks had committed genocide on the indigenous nations that were in Oklahoma. A large group who were not able to pay railroad fare left with their belongings in wagons. Picture this, people. Picture your ancestors in wagons. Think of the cowboy movies that you've seen. You've seen mostly white people in wagons. Well, black people were in wagons too. As in early years, others had hit the trail. The men said they would walk with their dogs and guns, and the women and children rode in wagons that were not even covered. About 300 persons were in this particular party. When the time came for them to be ferried across the Mississippi River, a large number of friends were on the bluff to see them go. Many silent but observant white men were there and saw that bond of quiet, determined people leaving home and friends to seek some place in our great democracy where their lives, liberty, and property would be protected. The last person to go aboard the ferry boat was a horny handed son of toil who led a yellow hound. As he started up the gangplank, the dog pulled back. His master, seeing that he had the center of the stage for a moment, yelled, "Come on here. What you want to stay back there for? Want the white folks to lynch you too?" Needless to say, the white men who witnessed this incident did not join in the laughter which followed. After a week, word came back to Memphis that these people were hemmed in by the high water which flooded the Arkansas bottoms every spring. A collection for their benefit was taken in every colored church in town the following Sunday. It amounted to over $400. Now imagine that's a lot of money back in the 19th century. The money was put in the hands of Cash Mosby, a colored railroad agent, and J.L. Fleming, business manager of the Free Speech. They were instructed to use this money in paying railroad fare over the high water zone so the people would have no excuse to come back to Memphis. In any case, they were sighing for the flesh pots of Egypt. Now, see how she uses Egypt because she's Christian, okay? And Africa, Egypt in particular, in the Bible is an enemy. Remember that, people, because Egypt is a part of your history. I'll be getting into that later this year. But anyway, two women whom they offered to bring back and care for in their approaching confinement, they were pregnant, refused to come. They were willing to take their chances in the wilderness rather than come back to Memphis. You go, pregnant sisters. You go. Okay? They kill your people. They burn down their establishment. Okay? Because they don't want black people to prosper. Y'all left. Right on. People who are listening to me, these are your ancestors. Understand the importance of this history. Share this history with yourself, your friends, your family, your children, your grandchildren. Do that. And your great grandchildren. Do that. All right. Next book, Asada. All right, if you don't know about Asada Shakur, I want you to know about her because she is an integral part of what's going on right now, where the vice president and the president of the United States want to humiliate, degrade, and wipe out Cuba. Cuba is where Asada Shakur was able to live her life because she couldn't live it here in America. So if you don't know about her, my beloved listeners, do. Now, this part of the book, Asada is in prison. Okay. She wants to be in the general population of women, but the female warden and her are having a talk about that right now. Okay. Well, how long am I supposed to stay in here locked up like this? I don't know. I saw it was useless. Would you please tell the warden or the sheriff that I would like to see him? I requested. The guard locked the door and was gone. The metal door was unlocked again. An ugly, shriveled white woman stood in front of the bars. My name is Mrs. Butterworth, and I am the warden of the women's section of the workhouse. She reminded me of a dilapidated horse. Well, Joanne, is there something I can do for you? I didn't like her looks or her tone of voice, but I decided to ignore that for the moment and get to the business at hand. When can I be unlocked from this cell and go outside in the big room with the other women? Well, I don't know, Joanne. Why do you want to go out there? Well, I don't want to stay in here all day locked up by myself. Why, Joanne, don't you like your room? It's a very nice room. We had it painted just for you. That's not the point, I said. I would like to know when I will be able to be with other women. Well, Joanne, I don't know when you'll be able to come out. You see, we have to keep you in here for your own safety because there are threats on your life. You know, Joanne, she said, lowering her voice like she was speaking confidentially, cop killers are not very popular in correctional institutions. Have any of the women here made threats against me? Well, I don't know, but I'm sure they have. I'll bet, I said to myself. Nobody has threatened my life. They just don't want to let me out of here. Well, Joanne, the important thing is for you to behave and to cooperate with us so that we'll be able to send a good report to the judge. It's important for our girls to behave like ladies. This woman was making me sick. Did she think I was fool enough to believe that either she or the judge was going to help me in any way? But it was the superior sounding tinge to her voice that really ticked me off. Butterworth, is it? I asked. What's your first name? Well, I never tell my girls my first name. I'm not one of your girls. I'm a grown woman. Why don't you tell people your first name? Are you ashamed of it? No, Joanne. I'm not ashamed of my name. It's a matter of respect. I am the warden here. My girls call me Mrs. Butterworth, and I call them by their first names. Well, you haven't done anything for me to respect you for. I give people respect only when they earn it. Since you won't tell me your first name, then I want you to call me by my last name. You can either call me Ms. Shakur or Ms. Chesamar. I'm not going to call you by your last name. I'm going to continue to call you Joanne. Well, that's okay by me. If you can stand me calling you Miss Bitch whenever I see you, I don't give anybody respect when they don't respect me. That is Asada Shakur. Now I want to switch gears here. Remember, I told you I had a lot to share with you from the beginning. Now I want to show you this young white male. This is Aaron Bushnell, and I often remember him in my prayers. I pray for all my subscribers. I pray for the world. I pray for the people I know, and I pray for Aaron Bushnell. And let me tell you why I pray for him. Aaron Bushnell was only 25 years old. He was an Air Force veteran. Oh, and February 25th of last year, he self emulated himself. That means he set himself on fire, literally, because he was tired of the genocide in Gaza. This military man, this soldier, set himself on fire in protest of the war, the Israeli and the United States war against the Palestinians. So he deserved my respect. Okay, so I'm actually going to, this is let me show you. Yes, Asada, Asada. Thank you, Sa. All right. Yeah, so Aaron Bushnell, let me show you him again. So you could, in fact, let me bring him up here. You see him right there? You see the white fellow, the young white male right there? That is Aaron Bushnell. Okay? Let me get rid of that. Here's an even better picture of him. That's Aaron. So, what I want to do now, I'm going to read a poem written by my sister Panther in Paris, Julia Ray, because she actually wrote a poem about Aaron Bushnell. And let me tell you why that's important. Poetry is portable. You can take it anywhere. Okay? And it's a wonderful way to keep your history and your sanity intact. So this is for Aaron Bushnell. This is for his mother and father. This is for his family. This is for this man that was so angry about war that he set himself on fire. Understand that, people? And I'm going to preach for just a second because I want to get to the point. But it's important that you understand how many wars we've been in and how many wars we in now. Look at Ukraine. The United States hates Russia because it's an independent, powerful state. It's a federation. The United States wants no competition. How different is that from the white grocer that killed those black men in the 19th century? They were black grocers. He was a white grocer. He wanted no competition. This is a sickness in white society. All right, let me get to the poem. Aaron Bushnell's Love Supreme, February 26, 2024. For Aaron Bushnell, who just died after self-immolation for Gaza. The passers-by guessed what you were going to do. The onlookers saw your anti-genocidal intent and let you go ahead. And now you are dead. You are allowed to burn a long, excruciating time before just a few rushed to your rescue, shouting, "Call the board!" YouTube hastened to blur the image, but could not delete in our minds the genocide you died for. May you rest in Palestine. And let me just say this. I think I wrote it down. I hope I did. There were two other men who set themselves on fire. One was Matt Nelson, 9/11/2024. He set himself on fire. Samuel Mena Jr. And all of this is about the wars, the constant war. War is hell. You should, as a nation, our nation should want to get along with other people, but they don't. They want to kill, and I mean that literally, kill any competition. Samuel Mena Jr. set his arm on fire in October of last year. Okay, one more thing I want to share with you today before I sign off. African people, those of you of African descent who are listening to me, and even if you aren't of obvious African descent, you are still a part of the continent, because Africans are the first people that the creative power put on earth. So I want you to know about what the irritated genie calls the three kings. That to your far right, Ibrahim Traore, head of Burkina Faso. In the middle, Assimi Goïta, head of Mali. And on the far end, Abdulrahman Chiani. Let me tell you why these three brothers are so important. They're important because they're kicking out the white colonizers from their country. Yes, from their countries. They're moving away from colonization of black people. They want an independent Africa. You dig? This is what they want. And not only what they want, this is what these three brave men have been working for last couple years. And check this out. The United States and France are doing everything they can to assassinate these leaders. These are leaders that care more about their people than capitalism. They are black nationalists. They are African nationalists. They want their own currency. They want to get away from the dehumanizing power of the United States, of the Europeans. All right. So do share this video. Do talk about the connections of the slave ship of the 16th century, 16th and 17th century, and connect it all to what I have shown you today. And I want to say one more time, because it means a lot to me. War is hell. Let me see if I can get another banner up here. Okay, I want to show you this banner. Together we can make a new and better world, people. We have to work together to do that. We are living in a time where I'm holding back my nasty words, where these people in charge have nuclear weapons. Do you understand that a nuclear weapon will destroy our earth? Do you understand that, people? These are the white politicians in power. You dig? So we must think more independently. Absolutely. And what else do I want to share with you before I go? The Spirit of Mandela. Go to that website, The Spirit of Mandela. Check out that website. Check out your heroes of today. All right, my beloved brothers and sisters, I am for sure going to sign off right now, but I will see you on Thursday. Know that I love you dearly. I do these videos because I do love you and want to share everything that I know with those who don't know. You dig? And I really insist, though I can't force you, but I want to urge you, share my videos with young people. Share them with old people, but especially young people. That's our youth. All right, brothers and sisters, it's been fabulous being with you today, and I will see you on Thursday, same time, same place. Bye now.